Lying in my hospital bed, I saw a news story about a fancy cruise. On screen were my parents, my sister, and my husband, laughing together. My stomach sank. I grabbed my phone and saw a charge for a cruise trip on my credit card. I called my husband. "Where are you?" I asked. "At work," he said like nothing was wrong. I gave a small smile. "Have fun," I whispered, already knowing what I was going to do next. You know, there are moments in life that just shatter everything you thought was real. For me, that moment came when I was lying in a hospital bed, feeling absolutely miserable with morning sickness, and I saw a news report about a luxury cruise. And there they were, right on screen, my parents, my sister, and my husband, laughing, living it up. The sheer betrayal hit me like a physical blow. I remember feeling this weird unease, like a cold dread creeping up my spine. So, I checked my phone. And there it was, plain as day, a cruise trip charge on my credit card. My heart pounded. I called James, my husband, and he answered, calm as ever, at work. I just managed a tiny, bitter smile. "Enjoy yourself," I whispered, the words tasting like ash in my mouth. In that instant, I knew. Everything had to end. Before all this, my life in Bal Harbour, Miami, seemed picture perfect. The morning sun would stream into our mansion, and Melissa, my housekeeper, would have breakfast meticulously prepared. Fresh fruit, organic yogurt, the smell of coffee, it was idyllic. "James, will you be working late tonight?" I'd ask, placing his coffee down. My long blonde hair, my modest dress, they all spoke of my role as a senior manager at a big accounting firm. He'd adjust his expensive suit, check his watch. Yes, an important client dinner. New project. He was a vice president at an investment bank, always impeccable. "I see," I'd say, "then I suppose I'll be working late too. But I really look forward to our weekends with family. That's what makes me happy." He'd give me a light kiss, then disappear into his luxury car. I'd watch him go, feeling so incredibly happy, so secure. It was our perfect morning every single day. Then came Sunday, our usual family dinner at the Smith Mansion. The chandelier cast a soft glow on the antique dinnerware. "Melissa, you're looking a bit pale lately. Is work stressing you out?" My mother, Carol, peered at me, her home cooking, that fragrant roast chicken, always a comfort. "Big sis, why don't you cut back on work?" "I have a much more relaxed approach to my job," Ashley, my sister, chimed in. Her perfect makeup and flashy dress screamed luxury real estate agent, but there was always something else beneath her words, a hint of something darker. "I'm fine, just a little tired. Once this project is done, I'll take it easier," I smiled, trying to reassure them. My father, Robert, was already deep into his usual tales from his investment banking days, high society, deal-making secrets. In my day, trust was everything. Family, business, it all starts with trust. My mother nodded, "That's right. Keeping up appearances is so important." It was a peaceful Sunday evening. Little did I know, it would be our last family gathering before everything changed. That Tuesday, a sudden wave of nausea hit me during an important client meeting. My colleagues watched, concerned, as I rushed out. "You don't look well. Should you see a doctor?" Jennifer, my secretary, asked, worried. I just nodded weakly. Then, the doctor's words, "Mrs. Wilson, congratulations, you're pregnant." I was speechless. A mix of joy and surprise washed over me. I had to tell my family right away. I pulled out my phone, tried to leave a message for James, but it was the start of a long, agonizing series of unanswered rings. Days later, the morning sickness was so severe I had to go back to the hospital for more tests. The steady drip of the 4 marked time in the quiet room. I gently placed my hand on my stomach, still bewildered by the sudden pregnancy, but feeling a genuine joy blossoming inside me. I looked up and saw the big TV on the wall. I grabbed the remote, turned it on. I watched absently. It was a summer vacation special, Royal Caribbean's latest cruise ship, gliding majestically through emerald waters. The ultimate luxury cruise experience. Unforgettable memories aboard the world's largest cruise ship. As the narration played, the screen showed scenes from inside the ship, luxurious dining, spa, pool, happy passengers. We spoke with some of our passengers. That's when it happened. "It's a wonderful cruise." The man on screen. There was no mistaking him. It was James. And next to him, in a flashy summer dress, clinging to his arm, was Ashley, my sister. "This is going to be such a lovely vacation," she said, a broad smile on her face. My sister, who had always envied my happiness. And behind them, my parents, sipping champagne. "It can't be." My fingers trembled. I grabbed my smartphone, logged into online banking. My fingers shook as I checked the joint account statement. This can't be real. Cold sweat ran down my spine. I opened my phone history. Messages from James, saying he was away on business. A text from my parents, we're going on a little trip. A line message from Ashley, I decided to take some time off. Everything clicked. With trembling fingers, I dialed James's number. After several rings, he finally answered. What is it, Melissa? The same voice, gentle and kind. The truth hidden behind it was tearing my heart apart. James, where are you? I tried to sound as normal as possible. At the office, in an important meeting. But I could faintly hear the sounds of a ship's deck through the phone. I took a deep breath, like drawing in my last breath of life. Enjoy yourself. Those words carried a coldness I had never experienced before. I hung up. Silence returned to the white hospital room. The cruise special was still playing on TV, luxurious parties, champagne toasts, happy smiles. It all seemed like such a distant world now. You were all deceiving me. A quiet anger filled my entire being. The sadness of betrayal, hatred, and then a fierce resolve. I slowly got up from the bed, walked to the window, and looked down at Miami. The blazing sun, gleaming skyscrapers, and in the distance, the port where cruise ships departed. This ends now. The words rang out like a vow. I gently placed my hand on my stomach, feeling the pulse of new life. I smiled. It was a smile filled with sadness, but also with hidden strength. Mommy will make sure you have a happy life. I promise. The sound of the Ford drip echoed in the quiet hospital room. I picked up my phone and began searching for a lawyer's number. When the nurse came in with test results, my expression had changed. There was no hesitation, just a calm, dignified look. The face of someone who knew everything, filled with quiet determination. Mrs. Wilson, your test results. Thank you, I bowed politely, my hand accepting the envelope showing no trace of hesitation. My heart was already filled with resolve for the battle ahead. 3 days after discharge, in my high-rise apartment in Miami, I sat silently at my computer in the dim pre-dawn room. The bluish light from the monitor illuminated my face. Ashley's private account. Just as I thought. The screen displayed my sister's private Instagram. Though locked, I'd gotten the login from her ex-boyfriend. He'd been betrayed by Ashley in the past, so he cooperated without hesitation. The post was from a week ago, a photo taken on deck, showing Ashley, my parents, and James toasting with champagne, looking supremely happy. You'd been planning this for 6 months. As I scrolled, more evidence emerged, conversations about cruise reservations, confirmation of meeting places, notes about making sure I never saw any of it. Don't tell Big Sis, she's been getting sick so easily lately. Conversations between Ashley and my mother, words wrapped in false kindness. I sighed deeply and moved on to my next investigation, my husband's company email address. The password I'd noted down last Christmas, after he fell asleep, was now proving unexpectedly useful. The truth behind nights claimed as business dinners came to light, one after another. Dinner reservations with Ashley, luxury hotel receipts, inappropriate expenses processed through the company account. He even used company money. Improper accounting, using his position as vice president of the investment bank. Evidence of personal entertainment expenses being recorded as client dinners. The amounts were not insignificant. I have enough evidence. I picked up my smartphone and called the law firm. Despite the early hour, a top divorce lawyer responded immediately. Mrs. Wilson, we have indeed received the materials, a calm voice responded on the other end. With this much evidence, we can proceed quite favorably. Particularly, the evidence of improper accounting at the company is crucial. Thank you, but this isn't over yet. I turned back to my computer. Now it was time to investigate my parents. The history of the account where my father's retirement money was deposited, the finances of my mother's social event planning company, and records of my sister's real estate transactions. It was all connected. Part of my father's retirement money had flowed into my sister's real estate company. From there, funds moved into my husband's investment projects. While appearing to be legitimate transactions on the surface, they were actually tax evasion and money laundering. So, this is what family bonds meant. With a bitter smile, I organized the evidence one by one, photos, emails, transaction records, all saved as digital data, ready to be made public at any time. Ma'am, everything is ready. At 10 a.m., facing the mountain of documents brought by the lawyer, I nodded quietly. Divorce mediation filing, property division demands, and internal whistleblowing to the company. Once we admit this, there's no going back, the lawyer warned. I gave a faint smile. My life has already reached a point of no return. Outside the window, Miami was enveloped in morning bustle. The sunlight reflecting off the skyscrapers seemed to shine in support of my resolve. Then, let's begin the proceedings. I signed the documents one by one. Only the sound of the pen moving across paper echoed in the quiet office. The social media posts are also ready. The tablet handed over by the assistant already had the post prepared. To my beloved family, thank you for the wonderful memories and goodbye. The attached photo was from that moment on the cruise ship, the intimate scene between my husband and sister, my parents sipping champagne. Everything told the story of their false happiness. The post can be made at any time. The same goes for the company whistleblowing report. I slowly stood up and walked to the window, looking down at Miami. I said quietly, tomorrow at 9 a.m., let's make everything public. When they wake up, there was no hesitation in my voice. This wasn't revenge. It was a battle to reveal the truth and restore justice. And above all, it was a battle for my unborn child. Baby, can you hear mommy's resolve? I gently placed my hand on my stomach. The warm pulse of life strengthened my determination even more. At dusk, I returned home. It was the last night before leaving this house. In the living room, family photos were displayed, our wedding photo, travel memories with my parents, a smiling shot with my sister. It was all lies. But things would be different now. I'm starting a new life. I quietly packed the photos one by one into a box. Along with the memories of the past, I sealed away the false bonds in this box. With tomorrow's sunrise, my new story would begin. Early the next morning, I woke up. Outside the window, the city was slowly awakening. From the distant sea came the horn announcing the return of the cruise ship. Welcome home, dear family. With an ironic smile, I began my preparations. I checked the final confirmation email from my lawyer. All documents were in order. Well then, let's begin. The first move was the social media post. To my beloved family, thank you for the wonderful memories. Did you enjoy the cruise? Snapshots from the cruise ship, my husband and sister intimately close, my parents toasting with champagne. Everything eloquently told the story of their betrayal. I pressed the post button. My smartphone screen flickered as if announcing a new morning. Next, I logged into the company's internal whistleblowing system. Detailed records of my husband's improper accounting, records of fabricated client dinners, evidence of slush funds, all compiled into one file and sent. As the cruise ship arrived at port, my smartphone began to vibrate. Social media notifications arrived one after another, shocked comments from friends, messages of sympathy, and voices of anger. The post spread instantly. A shock ran through Miami's high society. Local news sites published their first articles, investment bank VP suspected of misconduct, luxury cruise, and inappropriate relationship revealed. I calmly watched the screen, ignoring the incoming calls. I proceeded with my planned steps. Mrs. Wilson, all procedures have been completed, the lawyer reported on the phone, divorce mediation filing, property division claim, and damage compensation claim against my husband's company. Then came the call from my husband. Melissa, what is this? Welcome back, James. Did you enjoy the cruise? An ice-cold voice on the other end. My husband stumbled over his words. This isn't. Let me explain. Please handle everything through the lawyers. Goodbye. I ended the call. Next came my parents, then my sister. Ignoring all incoming calls, I moved to the next phase. 10 a.m. local TV stations began broadcasting breaking news. Investment fraud scandal shakes Miami high society in shock. The screen showed the cruise ship that had just arrived at port. The figures of my husband and sister getting off were captured. They covered their faces and rushed to their car as reporters gathered around. Melissa, why? My mother's anguished voice was left on voicemail. What about our reputation, our standing? Finally understood, Mother, the importance of appearances, I muttered to myself. I opened new emails, interview requests from TV stations, magazine coverage offers. I politely declined them all. I didn't need the media for my revenge. 2 p.m. contact from my husband's company. We have initiated an internal investigation regarding Vice President Wilson. A matter-of-fact notice from HR. Behind it, I could hear my husband's career crumbling. Big sis, I'm... A message from my sister, letters blurred with tears. Please forgive me, please. Delete. I blocked all means of contact. In the evening, the latest report came from my lawyer. The other party has proposed a settlement. It's a considerable amount. Not necessary. Please reveal everything. There was no hesitation in my voice. This wasn't an issue that could be resolved with money. Television was broadcasting special news. My husband appeared on screen, exhausted, running from reporters. My sister was crying uncontrollably, and my parents stood dumbfounded. Melissa, why? Late at night, my husband sent one last message. You all taught me the true meaning of family. After sending my reply, I turned off my smartphone. Outside the window, Miami's night view sparkled. Well, time to start packing for the move. Looking at my reflection in the floor-to-ceiling windows, I smiled. The life in my womb beat with a steady pulse. Let's start our new life. In my high-rise apartment, I quietly began packing all photo frames into boxes. Expensive furniture and furnishings to be disposed of. Only the necessities would come to my new life. Goodbye. We'll never meet again. I took one last look around the living room. All memories here were lies. But things would be different now. I quietly closed the door. The sound echoed like a bell announcing my departure from the past. 1 year later, the Wilson accounting office on the 14th floor of a high-rise building was bustling with morning activity. Through the glass walls, the sparkling waters of Puget Sound were visible. Emma, Mommy's treasure. I gently kissed my daughter's forehead. In one corner of the office, a soundproof, glass-enclosed baby room was set up. 3-month-old Emma was spending her peaceful nap time there, watched over by a nanny. Miss Wilson, the meeting preparations are complete. Sarah, my secretary, handed over the documents. I nodded with a smile. 1 year after going independent, my accounting firm had already established a solid reputation in Seattle. Our new clients today are from the Single Mothers Support Organization. Several women were waiting in the conference room. They were board members of the New Chapter Foundation that I had established, drawing from my own experience. I had also begun supporting women facing difficulties. Thanks to you, Melissa, my life has changed. One of the board members spoke tearfully. Many of the women who received support had begun walking new paths in life. Legal support, vocational training, and above all, meeting others who shared similar experiences. These had become invaluable sources of hope for them. You all are my. After the meeting, I returned to my office overlooking Puget Sound. A newspaper from Miami lay on my desk. The article showed James's exhausted figure. With the full extent of the accounting fraud revealed, he faced not only civil lawsuits, but criminal charges as well. After paying bail, he had moved from his luxury apartment to a cheap one and remained unemployed. My sister had lost her real estate license and all her assets. Rumor said she was working part-time at a luxury boutique. All her flashy dresses and expensive jewelry had reportedly been pawned. My parents had been completely banished from high society. They had left their luxury neighborhood in Miami and were living quietly in a rural Florida town. No one came to my mother's birthday parties anymore, and my father had become something of a recluse. I quietly closed the newspaper. I no longer felt anger or hatred toward them. Only a quiet satisfaction that justice had been served remained. My daughter woke up, reaching out her arms with a smile. Good morning, my angel. The moment I picked her up, a warm happiness enveloped my entire body. This small life was everything in my new world. The soft spring sunlight streamed into the afternoon office. On my desk, a photo frame held a smiling picture with Emma and a group photo with the members of the New Chapter Foundation. This was the shape of my new family. Miss Wilson, we have contact from a new client. Sarah brought in some documents. A Seattle IT startup. They were requesting my services as an accounting advisor for their rapidly growing company. Let's look into it right away. My expression as I approached work was more vibrant than ever before. At dusk, I finished work early and took Emma to the waterfront park. The spring breeze gently caressed our hair. Good evening, Miss Wilson. A man smiled at us from a park bench. It was the local pediatrician. We seem to be running into each other more often lately. Good evening, Dr. Johnson. Casual conversation flowed easily, from Emma's health checkups to nice restaurants in Seattle. If you'd like, perhaps we could have dinner sometime? I gave a small nod to a shy invitation. Thank you, I'll think about it. That night, in my penthouse home, I was lost in thought as I put Emma to bed. Perhaps life still held wonderful surprises in store. Hey, Emma, I spoke softly while gazing at my sleeping daughter's face. Mommy is happy. I found true happiness. Outside the window, Seattle's night view sparkled. A new city, a new job, new encounters, and above all, a new life with my beloved daughter. This was perfect victory. Perfect happiness. I kissed my daughter's forehead with a content heart. Tomorrow would bring another new day. A bright, hope-filled day.